I almost did just that. You can see how much distraction that was, right? I need the experience to get my dream job, but I need such a job to get relevant experience. Shut up. You should have the choices to give up after you are in. My ego didn't allow me to just be like you. I must be different. I wish I could just slap my 21-year-old self. Guess what? We all mess up. Now I'm 32 years old. Where did I mess up? When people ping me about career questions, they usually come up with clear objectives, and some people even have flow charts of the career plan. I wish I would like you 10 plus years ago. I kept on chasing after others' goals. If you missed the last video, check it out. How I was making peanuts. Others are making $500,000 per year. Some examples. I took studying abroad as a great challenge, but it was not like I had a vision of life. I picked computer science simply because it proved my caliber while all my friends were in business school. I never had a career goal in Silicon Valley. You see the problem, right? It's pure feng shui, all configured depending on others' goals. If it proves I'm as good as you, I will accept the challenge. If it proves I'm somewhat different, I'll jump onto whatever that thing is immediately. What if all my friends were in engineering and business school was the real challenge for my crowd of people? I sure would have ended up in finance or accounting. My decisions were foolish and impulsive. It was a real struggle to figure out my life and career. My friends in biz school are getting internships in the big 4 public accounting firms. Yeah, that was a big deal for us in 2012. All your friends were excited about their version of the golden career path, and you accomplished pretty much nothing nearly as good. A friend who was a senior in college advised me, you should study computer science and take a second major in business so that I could join these public accounting firms. I almost did just that. You can see how much distraction that was, right? One of my KPMG intern advisors told me, do you really want to be an engineer always working on just one system for the job? Or be like me, doing IT audits and working with many different systems. Of course, my ego didn't allow me to just be like you. I must be different. I'll challenge myself to do what you don't do. Wait, now I'm thinking about it. Did I miss his point? I would never reject a career path just to prove I'm different, right? I'm just kidding. Or am I? What really matters in college is still that internship. Are you debating if an internship is good for you? Stop thinking, just get it, do it. Obviously, my failures was that I never did an internship in a big tech company. I actually tried. It's too hard to ignore the career fair, right? A swarm of students dressed up like Neo. I was intimidated just by seeing all that. Everyone looked like they were about to start a fight or something. They started talking differently, acting mature. And when I showed up, I just looked like a baby in a suit. I eventually figured out my suits and ties, but they didn't really help, did they? Once again, I was just following what other people were doing, right? I was clueless. The common setback to us was the most companies, they just came to our school to look for finance and accounting roles. Local software companies can't sponsor visas. I kept going back to the career fair like everyone else. I improved my interview skills, but after so many semesters, I got nothing back. I was defeated. I submitted my resume to the big tech companies online. I got a few interviews, but I failed them miserably. I was doing that whole confident storytelling behavior style interview where the tech interviewers were like, okay, that's a good pitch, but dude, what are you doing? Shut up, write some code. That was a huge reality check. Tech interviews are nothing close to what my suits prepared me for. And pro tip, just don't wear a suit to a tech interview. You will look like you're interviewing for their managers. What should I have done better? Know the internship requirements for big tech companies, grind the leetcode, and focus on prepping for tech interviews other than, for example, my GPAs. If I knew the typical life cycle of a software engineer like many of you guys do now, I would have traded my time to grind leetcode 100%. I was naive to consider I could figure it out later without being fully aware of the consequences. It took me 6 years after college to eventually join my dream company. Very quickly after graduation, especially the first 1 to 2 years, we as new grads will tank at the bottom of the market. We were no longer eligible as interns, and meanwhile, the companies would much prefer fresh college hires who are easy to train, or senior folks who can bring immediate values. Experience-wise, just 1 to 2 years, we were nothing better than our older selves in senior year, but we are effectively competing with the whole army of experienced hires. Now, I need the experience to get my dream job, but I need such a job to get relevant experience. Ouch. Once you miss the train, catching up on a sidetrack is just painful. You have to imagine what other engineers in those big tech companies are doing and try to mimic the same experience. No matter how many side hustles I put on my resume, the reality is simple. Only after I got into Amazon did other tech companies finally recognize me. Hey, I've been here all along. Where were you guys before my Amazon's name tag? I can only blame myself. This was the reality in the tech industry long before I went to college. I was just procrastinating the pressure onto my future self. Taking a step back, some people have a clear vision that they hate leetcode and it's meaningless. I agree. But my clueless ego tells me to, no, you should have the choices to give up after you are in. In this tech bubble, I've observed so many people's success, which humbled me deeply. At some point, we all mess up. I'm open to chatting about personal failures because it makes me appreciate the uncommon success. Come on. The internet is now full of role models, breathtaking. To be honest, they just raise my anxieties. I just hope my humbled stories can take you for a laugh.